Have you ever noticed the strange, silent weight of mourning something that never even happened? We are taught how to grieve the past. We are given rituals for what has ended, but no one teaches us how to grieve a future that was promised in our minds, but will never arrive in our reality. If you have ever felt stuck in the space between the life you planned and the life you are actually living, exhausted by the gap between the two, this is for you. Stay until the end, because the way you view this invisible loss may change the way you heal forever. 1. The phantom grief of an unlived future. What if the heaviest sorrow you carry is not for what you lost, but for what you were so certain was going to be? When a deep loss occurs, whether it is a relationship suddenly ending, a sudden shift in health, a profound disappointment, or the passing of someone dear, we do not just lose the person or the situation in the present moment. We lose the ordinary Tuesdays we planned with them. We lose the milestones we worked toward. We lose the quiet mornings we imagined years down the road. We lose 1,000 unlived tomorrows. And so, we find ourselves walking through our daily routines, carrying a ghost, the ghost of what should have been. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that much of our deepest suffering comes not from the changing nature of life itself, but from our mind's desperate attachment to a specific outcome. We build an entire world in our thoughts. We furnish it, we populate it, we attach our sense of safety to it. But Buddhism reminds us of the profound truth of impermanence. Nothing is fixed. The future is an illusion entirely constructed in the present mind. When the reality of our life diverges from the script we wrote, the friction between what is and what we expected creates immense pain. Imagine a traveler who spends years studying a map. They memorize every river, every mountain, every winding road leading to a beautiful sunlit destination. They pack their bags. They begin the journey. But halfway there, a sudden storm arrives. The earth shifts. The landscape completely changes. The destination on the map has been wiped away. The traveler sits in this new, unfamiliar terrain, deeply exhausted, still clutching the old map in their hands. As long as they stare at the map of where they were supposed to go, they will never learn how to navigate or find peace in the place where they actually are. Think about your own life right now. Are you still staring at an old map? Are you punishing yourself or feeling a sense of deep bitterness because the story did not end the way you wrote it? It is completely natural to feel cheated when the future you invested your heart into is abruptly erased. But holding on to the blueprint of an impossible tomorrow only keeps you trapped in a waiting room for a train that will never arrive. Ask yourself, what future are you still holding on to? What expectations are you dragging behind you like heavy stones? Pause. Breathe. Notice the tightening in your chest when you think of what was supposed to happen. Acknowledge that this unlived future was beautiful to you. It is okay to honor it. Let the feeling rise without making it your identity. But then, gently, loosen your grip. You do not have to force yourself to love this new, unplanned reality yet, but you must stop demanding that it become the old one. Because peace cannot enter a space that is entirely filled with what-ifs. You cannot walk into the life waiting for you if all your energy is spent trying to revive a dream that has already passed. But letting go of that future brings us face to face with a deeper, quieter struggle. The fear that without our plans, without that future, we are entirely lost. And this is where the next truth begins. 2. The illusion of the path we planned. What if the path you thought was guaranteed was never actually yours to hold? Here is a truth that is deeply uncomfortable for the modern mind to accept. The harder you try to control the exact trajectory of your life, the further peace moves away. We spend years mapping out our milestones. We tell ourselves we must achieve a certain goal by a specific age. We decide exactly how a relationship should progress, how a career should unfold, how our healing should look. We create an airtight timeline, and when reality crashes into that timeline, breaking it into pieces, we do not just feel disappointment, we feel a profound sense of failure. We replay conversations, we obsess over where we took the wrong turn, we worry about the future, terrified that because we are no longer on the planned path, we are nowhere at all. In Buddhist thought, this agonizing need to dictate how life unfolds is a primary source of our suffering. We suffer because we cling to the illusion of control. Buddhism reminds us that the universe is not a rigid structure we can force into our preferred shape. It is an ever-changing web of causes and conditions. Impermanence is not a punishment for making a mistake. It is the natural rhythm of existence. When we try to freeze life into a perfect, unchanging picture, we are fighting the very nature of reality. Imagine a powerful river flowing down a mountain. You build a beautiful little wooden boat, memorize a map of the river, and set sail, determined to reach a specific bend in the water by sunset. But the river has its own currents. A sudden storm swells the water, sweeping your boat down a completely different, unexpected tributary. You can spend the entire journey desperately paddling against the raging current, exhausting your arms, crying over the sunset you are missing on the other path. Or you can put the oars down. You can look at the new banks of the river. You can accept that the water has carried you somewhere else. The river is not fighting you, it is just flowing. The exhaustion comes from your resistance to the flow. Connect this to your own quiet struggles. How much of your anxiety comes from feeling behind in life? How much emotional exhaustion comes from trying to force someone to stay when their current is pulling them away? We suffer under the immense pressure to succeed on a timeline that society invented. We compare our completely unique journey to the highlight reels of others, believing we have fallen off the track. Think about your own life. What are you still trying to force? Are you exhausting yourself trying to paddle upstream to a future that has already dissolved? Pause. Breathe. Drop the oars for just a moment. Look at where you actually are, not where you think you should be. You are here. Let the feeling of losing control rise, but do not let it become panic. Stop trying to force the door open when life has clearly locked it. You are not powerless. You simply have to redirect your power. Doing your part means showing up for the present moment. Releasing the outcome means letting the river carry you without demanding to know the final destination. Because true safety is not found in controlling the path. True safety is trusting yourself to navigate the water. But when we lose our plans, we often do something far more destructive than just fighting the current. We begin to punish the person in the boat. And this is where the next truth begins. 3. The quiet danger of abandoning yourself. What if in the process of mourning the life you thought you would have, you are silently walking away from the person you actually are? Here is the truth few people want to face. When the future we built our entire identity around shatters, we often abandon the only thing left standing, ourselves. When life deeply disappoints us, it is incredibly easy to turn that disappointment inward. We stop listening to our own needs. We ignore our own physical and emotional exhaustion. We isolate ourselves from the people who care about us, believing that if our beautiful plan failed, then somehow we are a failure. We punish ourselves for trusting, for hoping, and for believing in a tomorrow that did not happen. In our grief over what is gone, we turn our backs on the one person who needs our love the most. Buddhist wisdom teaches us about the parable of the second arrow. In life, pain is inevitable. The loss of a dream, the ending of a relationship, the collapse of a planned future, this is the first arrow. It hits us, and it hurts deeply. But Buddhism reminds us that the second arrow is the one we shoot into ourselves. It is the self-blame. It is the abandonment of our own well-being. It is the story we tell ourselves that we are fundamentally broken. Non-attachment does not mean abandoning yourself to the void. It means detaching from the painful story in your mind, so that you can show up with deep compassion for the person experiencing the pain. Imagine a deeply rooted tree standing on a hill. One night, a violent storm rolls in, bringing fierce winds and heavy rain. The storm strips the tree of its beautiful blossoms and breaks its strongest branches. The tree did nothing to invite the storm. It simply stood in its path. The storm is the first arrow. But imagine if, after the sky cleared, the tree was so devastated by the loss of its branches that it refused to draw water from the soil. It refused to let the sun warm its trunk. The storm took the branches, but the tree is starving its own roots. Think about your own life. When the storm came and took away the future you were expecting, did you stop watering your own roots? We see this in modern life all the time. When a deeply invested relationship ends, we stop taking care of our bodies. When a career path hits a dead end, we withdraw from our friends. We stop doing the small things that once brought us joy, feeling as though we no longer deserve them because we did not reach the finish line. Ask yourself, in the wake of this invisible loss, how have you walked away from yourself? Are you treating yourself as an enemy simply because you are hurting? Is the way you speak to yourself bringing you peace or feeding your sorrow? Pause, breathe, place a hand on your chest, and just feel the steady rhythm of your own life. Be a safe place for your own pain. You do not have to have the next 10 years figured out. You simply have to refuse to abandon yourself today. Show up for your own healing. Drink the water. Let the sun hit your face. Because true peace is not found by running away from your pain. It is found by sitting quietly beside it, as a friend. You cannot navigate a new path if you leave yourself behind. But staying gently present with yourself eventually brings an unexpected visitor. A sudden break in the clouds that feels beautiful, yet deeply terrifying. 4. The heavy cloak of guilt over joy. What if the most confusing part of grief is not the profound sadness, but the sudden, unexpected moments when you forget to be sad? Here is a strange truth about mourning a future that will never happen. Eventually, the wheel of life keeps turning, and in the middle of your grieving, something entirely unexpected happens. A friend tells a joke, and you laugh out loud. You taste a warm meal, and for a split second, you feel complete peace. You wake up on a quiet morning, and the heavy weight on your chest is momentarily gone, but almost immediately, a cold shadow falls over you. Guilt. The mind violently rushes in to remind you of what is broken. We punish ourselves for smiling. We believe that if we allow ourselves to feel joy, it means we have betrayed the dream we lost. We convince ourselves that remaining in a state of suffering is the only acceptable proof of our love, and the only way to honor the timeline that was taken from us. In Buddhist thought, this guilt stems from a deep misunderstanding of how the human heart operates. We view joy and sorrow as a fierce competition, believing there is only room for one to exist at a time. But Buddhism teaches us about the vast, expansive nature of the mind. We understand that attachment is the root of suffering, yet we forget that we can also become deeply attached to our own pain. We turn our sorrow into a monument. We guard it. We believe that moving past it is a sign of disrespect. But mindfulness teaches us to allow whatever arises to simply be. If sorrow arises, we honor it. If joy arises, we must also let it be, without resistance, without shame, and without guilt. Imagine a person walking through a long, brutal winter. To survive the freezing winds, they put on a massive, heavy cloak. It protects them. It becomes their only shelter. But eventually, the earth turns. The snow slowly melts. The sun begins to warm the soil, and the first tender blossoms of spring push through the ground. Yet, the person refuses to take off the heavy winter cloak. They sweat, they struggle, they carry the massive weight, believing that taking off the cloak is an insult to the winter they survived. They refuse to feel the warmth of the sun because they have grown so loyal to the cold. Think about your daily life. How often do you block your own sunlight? When you are having a quiet cup of tea or walking outside and a sudden wave of lightness washes over you, do you instantly shut it down? Do you actively remind yourself of your shattered plans just to pull the heavy cloak back over your shoulders? We are terrified that moving forward means we did not care enough. Ask yourself, does punishing yourself with guilt rebuild the future that fell apart? Is your refusal to smile changing the reality of what happened? Or are you simply denying yourself the quiet beauty of the present moment? Pause. Breathe. The next time a moment of laughter or sudden peace rises within you, do not push it away. Do not rush to apologize to the ghost of your past. Observe the joy. Let it warm you. You are allowed to feel good again, because joy is not a betrayal of your loss. It is a testament to your endurance. You do not have to choose between honoring what is gone and living what is here. But learning to let both of these realities share the same space requires a profound shift in perspective. And this is where the next truth begins. 5. The Buddhist wisdom of holding two truths. What if your heart is wide enough to hold both a profound sorrow and a quiet joy at the exact same time? Here is a truth that goes against everything we are taught about healing. We are conditioned to live in a world of absolute extremes. We believe that our emotions must fit into neat, completely separate boxes. We tell ourselves, "I am grieving," which we think means we are not allowed to be happy. Or we tell ourselves, "I am moving forward," which we think means we must never shed another tear over the past. When we experience the heavy ache for an unlived future, right alongside a sudden burst of present-moment laughter, our minds panic. We feel like imposters in our own lives. We believe that these two opposing forces cannot possibly coexist without one destroying the other. One of the deepest lessons of Buddhism is the dissolving of these rigid, black and white illusions. Buddhist wisdom teaches us the practice of widening our awareness. The mind is not a tiny, crowded room where joy and sorrow must fiercely fight for a single chair. It is completely boundless. Buddhism reminds us that the human experience is not about erasing the dark to make room for the light. It is about expanding our capacity to hold all of it, without clinging to the pleasant or violently rejecting the painful. Imagine the vast, endless expanse of the sky. On a single afternoon, you might look up and see a dark, heavy storm cloud rolling through one side of the horizon, pouring rain onto the earth. But on the other side of that exact same sky, brilliant golden sunlight is breaking through. The sky does not panic. The sky does not try to push the storm away to make room for the light, nor does it block the sun to prove its loyalty to the rain. It simply makes space. It holds both the storm and the sunlight simultaneously. The sky is never defined or destroyed by a single cloud. Connect this to your own quiet journey. Think about your daily struggles with this invisible grief. You might be sitting with friends, genuinely enjoying the conversation. You feel a sudden wave of lightness and peace, and then, in the very next breath, a memory of the future you lost crosses your mind, and a sharp pang of sorrow hits your chest. You do not have to fake a smile, nor do you have to run from the table. Both realities are true. You are healing, and you are hurting. You are stepping forward, and you are mourning what was left behind. Ask yourself, are you exhausting yourself trying to force your emotions into a single, simple category? What would happen if you stopped fighting the contradiction and simply let both truths exist inside of you? Pause, breathe. The next time you feel conflicted, replace the word "but" with the word "and." Say to yourself quietly, I am mourning a future that will never happen, and I am finding beauty in this current day. Let the space inside you grow larger. Do not force the sorrow out, and do not hold the joy back. Because true inner peace is not the absence of pain, it is the widening of your heart to gently hold everything that is real. But there is a specific, fragile moment when this widened heart is truly tested, a moment that feels like a sudden crack in the frozen ice of your grief. And this is where the next truth begins. 6. The sudden light of the first laugh. What if the moment your heart finally lets in a ray of light is the exact moment your mind tries to pull the curtains closed? There is a specific, profound milestone in every journey of invisible grief. It is the very first time you genuinely laugh. It usually happens in the most ordinary way. You are sitting in traffic, or talking to an old friend, or simply watching a bird land on a fence. Out of nowhere, a pure, unscripted moment of joy rises in your chest, and for a split second, you completely forget to be sad. The heavy weight lifts. The laughter escapes, but almost instantly, the mind panics. It rushes to silence the sound. We suddenly feel disoriented, as if we have accidentally stepped off the edge of a cliff. We think, how can I be laughing when my life did not go as planned? How can I feel so light when the future I wanted is gone? In Buddhist thought, this panic is the mind desperately trying to maintain its familiar identity. When we mourn an unlived future for a long time, the grief becomes our home. We attach our sense of self to the pain, believing that this sorrow is simply who we are now. Buddhism reminds us that the mind often fears change above all else, even when that change is healing. When a sudden laugh arises, it shatters the illusion that the pain is permanent. The teaching here is simple, but profound. Do not reject the light just because your eyes have grown accustomed to the dark. Mindfulness invites us to gently witness the joy rising, just as we witness the sorrow, without violently pushing it away. Imagine a deep, quiet lake that has been frozen solid through a long, bitter winter. The ice is thick, heavy, and seemingly permanent, but eventually the season gently shifts. The air warms, and one day, a loud, sharp crack echoes across the silence. A deep fracture appears in the ice, and a small pool of liquid water reflects the sun. If the ice had a mind, it might panic, believing the crack is a sign of destruction. It might try to freeze the water back into place to stay safe. But the crack is not a disaster. It is simply the frozen water remembering how to flow. Think about your own life. When that sudden crack of joy happens when you catch yourself smiling at a beautiful sunset or feeling excited about a quiet weekend, do you immediately try to freeze it over? Do you scan your memory to find a reason to be anxious or sad again, just to restore the familiar tension? We do this in small ways every day. We dim our own light because we mistakenly believe that a grieving heart is not allowed to experience warmth. We tell ourselves that we have not earned the right to be happy, yet ask yourself, what are you truly afraid will happen if you just let the laugh finish? Do you fear that moving on means the dream you lost never mattered? Pause. Breathe. The next time a spontaneous smile rises on your face, do not pull it back. Observe the physical sensation of lightness in your chest. Let it ripple across the frozen lake of your grief without judgment. You do not need to apologize to the past for finding a moment of peace in the present. Because a sudden laugh does not erase what you have lost. It simply proves that the capacity for life has survived the storm. But allowing yourself to stand fully in this light without apology requires a radical, gentle change in how you treat your own heart. And this is where the next truth begins. 7. The gentle practice of self-compassion. What if the harshest voice in your mind belongs to the exact person who needs your comfort the most? Here is a painful truth about walking through the ashes of a future that did not happen. We are incredibly, quietly brutal to ourselves. When a friend goes through a deep loss, we offer them endless patience. We hold space for their tears. We remind them that healing takes time. But when it is our own life that has veered off course, we treat our grief like a profound inconvenience. We treat our emotional exhaustion like a personal failure. We tell ourselves, "I should be over this by now." We become immensely frustrated when a sudden memory brings us to our knees on a random Tuesday. We turn our healing into a rigid deadline, and when we inevitably fail to meet it, we punish ourselves with harsh, unforgiving judgment. In Buddhist thought, this lack of self-compassion is a deep spiritual wound. Buddhist wisdom teaches the practice of loving kindness, understanding that true peace must always begin from within. We are often taught to direct all our love outward, to be gentle with the world, but Buddhism reminds us that you can search the entire universe and never find anyone more deserving of your own grace than yourself. To observe your own pain without judgment, to look at your tired mind with the exact same tenderness you would offer a struggling stranger, is the highest form of spiritual maturity. You cannot force a wound to close by yelling at it. Imagine a careful gardener walking into a quiet garden after a terrible, violent storm. They find a beautiful young tree that has been bent all the way to the dirt, its roots suddenly exposed, its leaves battered by the hail. The gardener does not stand over the tree and shout at it to stand up straight. They do not punish the tree for being damaged by a wind it could not control. Instead, they kneel in the mud. They gently pack soft, warm soil around the exposed roots. They place a supportive wooden post beside the trunk, and then they simply give it time. They let the sun and the rain do their gentle work, trusting that with enough care, the tree will eventually find its own way back to the sky. Think about your own daily life. Are you standing over your battered heart, demanding that it immediately stand tall? We see this constantly in our modern world. We want to check letting go off our daily to-do list. We push ourselves to perform, to smile, to just move on, completely ignoring the fact that our emotional roots have been deeply shaken by a storm. We confuse self-discipline with self-punishment, believing that if we are just hard enough on ourselves, the grief will finally leave. Ask yourself, would you ever speak to a deeply grieving friend the way you speak to yourself when you feel stuck? Why do you believe your own tired mind is the only one not worthy of patience? Pause, breathe. The next time you feel a wave of frustration at your own slow progress, stop, lower your shoulders. Speak a quiet word of grace to your own mind. Tell yourself, it is okay that I am still hurting. I am doing the best I can. Give yourself permission to heal at the exact speed of your own heart. Because self-compassion is not an excuse to stay trapped in your pain. It is the very soil required for you to grow out of it. But as we learn to treat ourselves with gentle grace, we are faced with the complex task of how to look at what we left behind. And this is where the next truth begins. 8. Redefining loyalty to what was lost. What if moving forward is not an act of betrayal, but the deepest form of respect you can offer to your own life? Here is a profound knot we tie in our own hearts. We mistakenly believe that suffering is the ultimate proof of love. We convince ourselves that if we let go of the heavy sorrow we feel for an unlived future, it must mean that future never mattered to us at all. We feel a strange sense of disloyalty if we stop crying over the relationship that ended or the path that dissolved. We think, if I stop hurting, I am abandoning the dream. And so, we actively choose to stay in pain. We keep the wound completely open, guarding it fiercely, believing that our enduring agony is the only way to honor what we lost. In Buddhist thought, This is one of the most painful illusions of the human mind. We confuse attachment with love. Buddhist wisdom teaches us that true love, whether for a person, a deeply held dream, or a beautiful idea, does not require suffering to validate its worth. Clinging to the pain of what did not happen is not an act of loyalty, it is simply an attachment to suffering. Buddhism reminds us that we can honor the beauty of a hope or the depth of a past connection without allowing the loss of it to destroy our present reality. Letting go does not mean you erase the memory, it means you release the suffering, allowing the memory to exist without sharp edges. Imagine a person carrying a beautiful, fragile glass lantern, dreaming of the light it will cast on the road ahead. Suddenly, the lantern slips from their hands and shatters into dozens of sharp pieces on the stones. Devastated, the person drops to their knees. To prove their absolute loyalty to the lantern, they gather the sharpest, most broken pieces of glass and hold them tightly in their bare hands. Their hands bleed. They walk for miles, refusing to let go, believing that enduring the cuts is the only way to prove how much they valued the light. But bleeding does not rebuild the lantern. True respect for the light would be remembering its glow and gently opening their hands to let the painful shards fall to the ground. Connect this to your own silent struggle. How often do you grip the sharp edges of your broken plans? We see this when we replay the final words of a relationship that failed, cutting ourselves over and over. We see this when we obsess over a career milestone we missed, punishing ourselves to prove we cared about our ambition. We hold on to the pain, terrified that if our hands stop bleeding, our history will lose its meaning. Ask yourself, are you confusing your pain with your love? Does holding on to the sharp edges of this shattered future magically rebuild it? Or is it just stopping you from using your hands to build something new? Pause. Breathe. Look at the invisible pieces you are gripping so tightly. Acknowledge that the lantern was beautiful, and it is a tragedy that it broke, but you do not have to carry the glass. Gently, open your hands, let the shards fall. Because true loyalty is not found in how long you can force yourself to suffer for a future that is gone. It is found in how bravely you can use your life to honor the present. And as your hands finally become empty, you realize they are now free to hold something else. And this is where the final truth begins. 9. Letting the new future arrive. What if the emptiness you feel is not an ending, but the quiet clearing of space for a life you have not yet met? We began this journey by looking at the invisible ghost. We carry the phantom grief of a beautiful future that was promised in our minds, but never arrived in our reality. For so long, you have been walking with the heavy weight of that unlived tomorrow. You fought the current of the river, exhausted by trying to force your boat back to a map that had already dissolved. You wrapped yourself in the heavy winter cloak of guilt, punishing yourself every time a sudden ray of light or a quiet laugh broke through your sorrow. You held tightly to the sharp, broken glass of your past plans, terrified that if you let go, you would lose yourself completely. But look at what you have learned. Buddhist wisdom does not ask you to forget what you loved. It does not ask you to pretend that the storm did not hurt or that the loss did not change you. It simply asks you to gently open your hands. When we finally stop fighting the reality of what happened, a profound transformation occurs. We realize that peace was never waiting for us at the finish line of our carefully constructed timeline. Peace was always waiting right here, in the messy, unplanned, beautiful present moment. By dropping the illusion of control, you have not failed. By allowing yourself to laugh without guilt, you have not betrayed the past. By choosing not to abandon yourself in your deepest pain, you have actually done the bravest thing a human being can do. You have stayed. Imagine a vast, open field just after a long, heavy rain. The old structures you built there were washed away, and for a long time, the ground was just empty mud. But because you stayed, because you let the sun warm the earth, tiny green shoots are beginning to break through the soil. You did not plant them. You do not know exactly what kind of flowers they will become. You have no rigid map for this new garden, but it is growing anyway. And for the first time, you do not need to control the shape of the petals to know that they are beautiful. Think about your own life as you step forward from today. You do not have to have the next chapter completely figured out. You do not need to replace the lost dream immediately with a new obsession. Ask yourself, can you trust the water to carry you? Can you allow yourself to simply exist in this unwritten space without demanding that it make sense yet? Pause, breathe, look around at the life that is actually in front of you. Honor the grief that brought you here, but do not let it dictate where you go next. The future you lost was a beautiful dream, but the present moment is real, and it belongs entirely to you. You are allowed to smile. You are allowed to rebuild. You are allowed to be whole again. If these lessons touched your heart, share this video with someone who may need a little more peace today. Let life meet you where you are,